today's video, I'm going to talk about big plans that I have for the chickens and for the garden. So as you may know, the chicken flock has grown a lot this year. We've now got 10 total, probably going to keep like 7 or 8. So we need a bigger winter home for the chickens. In the past, I've used the greenhouse chicken tractor. If you've been a subscriber for a little bit, you've probably seen it in my videos. It has served us well, but right now most of the plastic is off of it as it is currently being used as their summer home. The most I've ever had in it at once was 6 chickens, and even then it was a little tight, so it's time to build a greenhouse that can also double as a chicken coop in the winter time. In the summer, it will serve as a greenhouse for growing tomatoes, squash, peppers, really whatever heat-loving crops that I want to grow in it. When you're thinking about building something for your homestead, you want to make it multi-purpose or at least super functional, so that's what this greenhouse is going to be. In the winter, it's going to be the chickens' housing. In the summer, it's going to be a greenhouse for growing vegetables. In the spring, after the chickens are out of it, I can even use it for starting some seeds. It'll be a season extender. I really haven't had one yet, so that'll be nice to potentially start my growing season a month earlier and end it a few weeks later than normal. Anyways, let's do a quick little garden tour. So right away out front, you can see the squash vines are growing way into the lawn. The green beans are being devoured by Japanese beetles, but somehow they're still producing a lot of green beans. Over here, the tomatoes are doing pretty good. I've been picking a few of the heirloom ones, although most of them are still not ripe. I also picked some of the Romas, and we've been picking a lot of cherries. Today I actually just made up a batch of salsa with tomatoes and peppers from the garden, some jalapeno peppers, a bell pepper, and a poblano anco. This is the money maker variety back here, I believe, and there is a lot on this one plant. Back here, a lot of this stuff is kind of burnt out. The broccoli didn't do so good. It just kind of went to flower right away, bolted. The peas are pretty much done, although they're flowering out a little bit again. Lettuce is all bolted. This is just kind of a weedy compost pile back here. The potatoes need to be picked. Lots of dill, as you can see. Back here is my fenced in area where nothing I planted ever came up, but there is some nice oats in here and some volunteer squash. All throughout here, there's a lot of tomatoes kind of in there. I think there's some peppers buried in there, but that's the pumpkin patch. And back here, we have the sunflowers. Over here, more pumpkins. Some more tomatoes. Some beans. These bush beans are mostly done producing at this point. Over here, or kind of back to where we started at the pole beans. So it's not going to be mobile like the greenhouse chicken tractor currently is, but it is going to be multi-purpose, generally always in use. I'm going to build it at the back of my current vegetable garden. Therefore, it'll have good access in the winter, just like where I parked the greenhouse chicken tractor before in the winter. It'll be in a very similar spot, and it'll be basically right on the back end of the garden. So right there for growing stuff. And when I have to clean it out and spread out the winter bedding, the garden is right there. So when is this being built? Hopefully I will start on it by the end of August, get some work done on it, and then finish it before October 1st, because I do want to move the chickens in there probably by the middle of October, have both flocks integrated and in there. The new chickens should be laying eggs by then, and that way they can start building up some deep bedding, get it composting before winter gets here, so I don't just throw them in during winter and then there's no deep bedding and then their bedding freezes right away. That's something you want to avoid when you're using a deep bedding system like I do. I already have plenty of greenhouse plastic on hand from when I built the greenhouse chicken tractor. I have a ton of extra stuff that I can use. I will be purchasing some 2x4s for it, both treated and non-treated. And I'm also going to be using this big roll of wire we have. In other news, we got the younger chickens a new water today, as they kept knocking over their old water, which they had just outgrown because it was really made for baby chicks. So we got a metal one this time. I used to have a plastic one, similar size, but eventually just wore out and broke. That's one lesson I've learned, is to not buy cheap plastic things for your chickens or any livestock. Buy metal stuff. It'll last over time. It is more spendy up front, but over time, it's gonna save you money. As far as the older chickens go, the barred box are on the garden. Just trying to get them to trample some weeds lately. Been having them knock it down. They were on this a few weeks ago. Right now I'm trying to get them to trample the red clover seed heads that are mature. So we get that on the ground, so we get more red and medium clover growing next year. I think I'm gonna use part of this bit for a roost, the chickens, and the new greenhouse chicken coop. There goes Tilly.